By the end of the day, we could know who will be Albuquerque's next police chief.
The list of candidates to take over the troubled department is now down to 3, and the decision is now in the hands of Mayor R.J. Berry. And we did some background checks on these 3 finalists. The first one is a familiar face, State Public Safety Secretary Gordon Eden. He was a longtime state police officer, former MVD director, and former U.S. Marshal for New Mexico. He's never had any personal controversies, but as DPS secretary, one of the agencies he oversees is the state police department, which recently got a lot of negative attention for this video of an officer bashing out the window, then another one shooting at the tires of a minivan full of kids. As you remember, that officer was fired. Well, another candidate is Assistant Dallas Police Chief Thomas Lawrence here. Now, we found out, was recently criticized for his punishment of an off-duty officer who roughed up a Latino driver during a road rage incident. Lawrence suspended the officer. LULAC, the Hispanic Civil Rights Group, wanted the officer fired and felt Lawrence's punishment was a slap on the wrist. And the third and final candidate is Craig Goralski here, the Assistant Chief of Houston's Transit Police. Now, before taking that job, he served 29 years with the Houston PD. He also has a law degree. We checked with a newspaper and a TV station in Houston, and both told us Mr. Goralski has never been a controversial figure there.
Jemez Springs also needs a new police chief. The village council just voted to give the current one the boot. The council fired Chief Shane Harger Wednesday after a lot of questions surfaced about a confrontation he had with a TSA agent at the Sunport. Last month, Harger was trying to use some IDs that had 2 different names on them. Listen to part of that exchange.
So where to go? Have a nice day.
I do have a contact with the women's place, okay? And they will know about this. You know, in my opinion, he's a poor excuse for a police chief.
The police chief said that one of the IDs was used when he goes undercover. Well, now the village council says it hasn't decided that they didn't fire him, I should say, because of that incident, more so that he was fired because of some other issues that came to light after that incident. People are showing their support for the owner of a new Jewish deli in Albuquerque. You see, the deli has gotten hit 3 times recently by anti-Semitic vandalism. Yeah,
police and the FBI are now looking into who is behind some hateful and threatening messages that were posted outside Nosh in Nob Hill. And while they were searching for whoever did it, dozens gathered last night for a vigil to, quote, stop the hate.
You always think that humanity has moved past this kind of behavior, and apparently we're still trying to figure out how to be good people in this world.
There are some good ones, just unfortunately there are a few bad ones. The deli has been open for just 6 months. Now, on top of dealing with the vandals, the owner says the shop's been broken into twice recently. Now, if you would like to go show your support for Nosh, you can go to Nosh, a Jewish deli and bakery. It's at 116 Amherst Southeast in Nob Hill between 8 this morning and 3 this afternoon. You can write a Valentine in support and post it on their window. Well, yet another hate crime is reported on the UNM campus. A police report says in this case, a dorm director found white people in the men's showers in the Coronado dorms on Wednesday. And now police are investigating. You do remember 2 weeks ago in Laguna Hall, an African-American student found the N-word on a message board on a door. The school caught the student who did it, and that student was put on probation.
New Mexico's governor won't be seeing a pay hike anytime soon. The House killed a bill that would have raised her pay and even the pay of 11 other elected state officials. Governor Susana Martinez opposed it all along. Democrat Lucky Varela of Santa Fe, who sponsored the bill, said elected officials deserve it because they don't get cost of living increases like other state workers. New Mexico is another step closer to establishing a ban on texting while driving as the bill clears another hurdle. The bill imposes a $25 fine for the first offense and a $50 fine thereafter. It would prohibit drivers from not only texting but emailing and doing searches on the web on handheld wireless devices. Last week, the Senate moved forward with the proposal. Texting bans have failed in the past. The bill will now go to another House committee for consideration.
Repeat drunk drivers here in New Mexico may soon face tougher penalties. Yesterday, the House passed a bill increasing penalties for 4th DWI convictions and any after that. A 4th DWI would mean a mandatory 1.5-year sentence that is up from the 6 months you have to serve right now. And an 8th DWI conviction would mean at least 10 years in prison. So you know, 46 people were convicted of getting their 8th or more DWI here in New Mexico in 2012. Well, finding a judge to handle a high-profile DWI case in Valencia County is becoming quite difficult. Daniel Sanchez was killed. His 11-year-old daughter Megan was seriously hurt last month when the motorcycle they were riding was hit, investigators say, by Jacob Williams, and police say he was drunk. Sanchez is the brother of District Court Judge William Sanchez. Now, because of all the other judges in the district and they're working closely with him, they've recused themselves. The case is now assigned to former Santa Fe District Attorney Henry Valdez to get prosecuted, but a judge has not been assigned. Valdez says the state Supreme Court will likely have to assign a new judge. This is the second DWI case Williams has been involved in. Ironically, Judge Sanchez was the presiding judge at Williams' first conviction. All right, missing cash, unapproved trips, and spending on mystery adult chaperones traveling with kids?
Albuquerque Public Schools found all of that and more in its latest round of audits for student activity funds. The district wants students to be able to travel and learn and compete, but when APS checked the accounts for each activity, they found shoddy records happening in half of the schools that were audited. At Albuquerque High School, a trip to the president's inauguration revealed 2 adult chaperones no one can identify.
Is that still the case? I know things can change between when the audit is published and approved and that sort of thing. Do you know who those 2 adults were?
I do not know. I don't know who those adults were, but again, I think what's important to note is that it's a issue that we have to look at deeper.
Well, Matt Grubbs looks into this a little bit deeper on special assignment tonight at 9 o'clock on 2 Casa Fox. That's when you can watch that story or view the story online at KRQE.com.